What's going on, guys? Have Omega 2090. This is issue 2. And if you've been following me or if this is your first time, I just want to reiterate this is some of my favorite as far as the indie comics is this world that Paul Thayer has created with Project Analysis and by extension Omega 2090. And then, of course, we have the Crimson Pain one-shot as well. And this all is within the same universe. Omega is the leader of Project Analysis, and so we are just kind of focusing in on how he became to be the leader of Project Analysis. We've already covered issue 1, and now we're continuing on with issue 2. And so we're picking right up where we left off with issue 1. They were sent out to the Red Crown to kind of go stop Crimson Pain. And we see that Crimson Pain is currently fighting a hero. We're not given her name, but it's not going to matter here in a second because, I mean, as we already know, he's wiped out all of the heroes, all of the enhanced. And so they're putting on a big old fight. And, yeah, Crimson, he takes over and just beats the shit out of her. You know, while he tells her, you know, you guys are basically a plague and stuff like that, and I need to eradicate you guys. Rips off her wings, runs over, grabs her sword, comes back over. You see he's about to... it looks like he's about to just kind of like throw it right into her back, but no, of course not. That wouldn't be gruesome enough, so he just fucking cuts her head right off. So yeah, that's what we can expect from Crimson Pain at this point. We then cut over with John, and we have Victor and Ty over here as well. Or, sorry, Ty and Victor. They're checking in on one of the Red Crown guards here. And we don't know her name yet, but she's kind of filling in everybody as to what's happening at this point and mentioned that the king has fallen and, like, all the heroes are dead. And, you know, John's like, you know, we're going to stop him, but Ty... he's starting to freak out a little bit. He's like, no, if everybody's dead, what chance do we have? We're not enhanced. We have no powers. How do we stop it? And John's just like, well, if we're gonna die, then we're gonna die, you know. But we're gonna die fighting. Slaps Ty across the face and calls him a coward. And Ty's like, you know, well, you're talking about some sort of team here that we have. But you are the reason why our whole team is dead. Like, this is your fault that it's just down to us three. And so we then see a big old explosion. John and the guard, they're affected by it, but not quite as bad as Ty. His face is getting blown apart. His arm, he's getting fucked up pretty good here, and we're seeing that John blacks out here. And that's what we see until 3 months later, where he comes back to. And we see he's in a hospital room. And this is where we meet Valerie Vega for the first time. Or at least that's when John meets her. And she starts to just kind of fill him in on everything that's happened in the last 3 months since he's been in a coma. She has informed him that the three nations, the Europeans, the Red Crown, and the Americas, are all destroyed. Crimson Pain did everything he set out to do, and now that they are all destroyed, they have all banded together to become the ULN, or the United League of Nations. And this is under one Prime Minister. And this Prime Minister, we find out, also wishes to talk to John. And John's like, well, what about? I'll let her handle that. So we then get to... they get escorted over to the lab where we see Victor and Ty still healing from those events. And this is where John meets Dr. Marlowe. And Dr. Marlowe, he's just letting him know what's going on with the two. It says that Victor is almost fully recovered, maybe needs another day or two. and that Ty, he's in really bad shape. Obviously, I don't know if you could see it that well, but he's missing an arm and a leg here. So Ty got fucked up real bad in that explosion. And just kind of, he goes on to explain what this fluid that they're in is doing. It's just like helping the recovery process. And then Valerie also informs John that the guard, who we now find out is Shin, also known as Hellkate, she's in the war room, and John wants to talk to her, but that's going to have to wait because it's time to go talk to the Prime Minister, and John's just getting one last look at the other two, and this is where he gets informed about Victor, how he's only going to be in there but another day or so. And he just talks about how much those two mean to him, to Valerie. So now we're over with the Prime Minister, and she's basically saying, hey, I would like you to lead a task force. And we need to rid the world of Crimson Pain and get everything back to normal. And John's immediate response is, how the hell am I supposed to do that when everything has been wiped out as far as like the enhance? And she's like, boom, have some superhero serum here, and this is going to make you even stronger than the guild, or like all of the enhance. That's what they were formed as, the guild. That'll make you stronger than any of them. He's like, okay, and then what? Lead. I want you to. Basically, they want to put together a whole bunch of super soldiers as well. And she wants him to lead it. And he's like, okay, so what's the catch? And she's like, nothing. I just want you to bring this world back to a stable foundation so we can at least, rebuild. But we can't do that with Crimson Pain still out there. So I'll finance whatever you need. I just need him gone. And she's like, do we have a deal? And, he takes a moment, but yeah, he agrees. Let's do it. And she also says that he can put together whatever team he wants. So the first person he goes to is Shin. And it doesn't take a whole lot of convincing for Shin to get on board here. And she's like, yep, let's do it. And so they're sitting there getting ready, and you see John's pretty scrawny looking here, but that is about to change. If you're looking ahead, yeah, you see that. So yeah, they get injected, and fucking superhero steroids here. And this did remind me a little bit of Captain America: First Avenger, like that movie. I mean, this to a lesser extent because Steve Rogers was very scrawny, and John's at least still got some build here, but yeah, he gets bulked up big time. And you see he's got all of his powers going on, and looking pretty awesome. So it's definitely had an effect. And yeah, Shin also is having an effect too, and we are showing that her clothes are burning away, and man, we get out of there just in time before any real nudity gets shown here. So we're over here now. Just hide that. We're over here. We see that this device that John's standing in is scanning and providing armor based on their power sets. So it's scanning John and creating armor that would best suit what his abilities are, and same with Shin over here. And so, yeah, and then they see that by pressing his neck that this activates the armor. That's pretty sweet. And then they get fitted with weapons. John gets a blaster because, of his abilities, and then because Shin can create fire, she gets a sword. So pretty sweet stuff there. And they are immediately being set out for a mission. And they're like, okay, we're gonna go do this, take out some Pain Patriots. And John's like, I'm not even gonna let you land. Dr. Marlowe said that with these abilities and this suit, I should be able to handle a jump like this. So he just fucking bolts out of there. Gotta admire that. So they land, immediately just start fucking up everybody. And I mean, if you've seen some of the other Project Nemesis stuff, you know that this team does not fuck around. They just murder everyone that's part of like the Pain Patriots. Very rarely do they take any kind of hostages. And this kind of violence right here with the eyeballs, I've noticed this is becoming kind of a staple with the Project Nemesis thing. We got to have at least somebody having their eyes like just burst out, and it's always fun to watch. Real quick, I do want to kind of backtrack because I did have a slight issue with one thing. So right here, so Marlowe says, anything else, General Evans? He says, yes, General Evans is dead. Call me Omega, and she's Hellcat. Now, maybe this is a little nitpicky, but it does kind of bother me that there was no real thought process into the name. Because, you know, if anybody's played like an RPG game or something where you get to name your characters, usually you have a little bit more thought into something like that. And, you know, this is what he wants to be called. So just popping up with Omega out of nowhere and just automatically naming Hellcat. I had some slight issues with that. Honestly, probably would have been better if, like the Prime Minister or whoever they're going to be reporting to directly, even Valerie. If any one of them were to just be like, here is the alias you're going to go after, go out under, or something like that. If you just wanted to go real quick about it, but letting John pick his call sign, his alias, whatever you want to go about. I just felt like maybe a little bit more thought process should have been put into that one. So, again, maybe that's nitpicky, but that just kind of stood out as weird to me. So, okay, back over here. Eyeballs busted, and then he's trying to get some more info. He's like, you got to let me live, and he's like, you're in no position to negotiate. So he gets the information about Steam City, and Jonathan, or at this point now, Omega, thanks him by punching his head right off. And yeah. And so Vega over here, or Valerie, she's like, wow, that was, an impressive display of powers. And they're like, yeah, well, we're just getting started. And they get radioed about some monsters attacking the ULN headquarters. So they make their way out there, and they're like, what the hell is going on here? And yeah, we see some crazy shit going on. Like this monstrosity just like attacking things, and we have no idea what's going on. And that is where our issue ends. And so yeah, I'm very much enjoying the Omega books as well. I really like seeing more about, people like John and Victor, of course. Victor being my favorite of the Project Nemesis team. I like his overall demeanor. He doesn't have a whole lot going on in here. He's really just kind of there. And that's fine. I mean, I don't demand that he's in every little bit. The story is called Omega, not Thorn. So that is A-okay with him just taking a side role, especially in an issue like this. That's fine. So overall, I would say, this is probably at least a 8 out of 10 story. I love the art that we have in here. And like I said, having the eyeball popping out is kind of a staple that I almost expect at this point. Somebody's eyes got to be flying out of their skull. And I just seeing Crimson Pain do the things that he does, you really feel a sense of threat and dread anytime anybody comes against them. It's just like, yep, somebody is going to die or get really fucked up. And so at this point, I've already read to where Omega, Lithium, and Thorn have already squared up against them, and I've already seen what happens out of that. Now, I'm not spoiling that at this moment. That will be at a later review. But yeah, I definitely like what Paul Thayer is creating here, and I certainly recommend this series for anybody. And just get everything at this point. I believe most of what he has as far as project analysis is on a trade paperback, so you can just get that and just go right through it all, or you can buy them all individual. The link for where you can get that will be provided in the description below. So be sure to check that out, especially if this interests you. But that is all I have for today, guys. So until next time, take care and God bless.